Hello everyone. Today our topic is conditional sentences. What is a conditional sentence? Conditional sentences are used to express about a cause and an effect, a situation and its result. So there are four types of conditionals: zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional, and third conditional. First of all, we will revise zero, first and second conditional, and then mostly focus on the third one. So let's start. Zero conditional is the first one we will go over. Zero conditional is also called type 0. We use zero conditional to talk about conditions, in other words, situations that are usually or always true and their results. We can also say that we use zero conditional to talk about scientific facts and rules and things that are 100% true. So let's check out this sentence. If you boil water, it evaporates. To be able to use conditionals, actually to be able to use zero conditional, the result should happen 100% when the situation happens. So the result should never change to be able to use zero conditional. In this sentence, whenever we boil water, the result never changes. It always evaporates. That's why we use zero conditional. Let's try another example. If it rains, everywhere gets wet. Again, in this situation, in situation of rain, the result never changes. Everywhere gets wet. So that's why we use zero conditional. So let's take a look at the rule of zero conditional. As I've said before, conditional sentences are sentences with if. And as I said before, there are two parts in conditional sentences. The part with if is the situation section, and the part without if is the result section. So in the situation section, the section with if, we always use the verb in simple present tense form. And in the result section, we do the same thing and we use the verb in simple present tense form. Now let's take a look at some examples and see how we apply the rule of zero conditional. You go to jail if you kill someone. If I feel ill, I don't go to school. My cat runs away if it sees a dog. If Jane wakes up late, she has to take a taxi to go to work. As you can see here, I mark the sentences, the situation sentences in green, and I mark the result sections in purple. And you can clearly see that in each section, in both sections, we use the verb in simple present tense form. The second conditional we will be talking about is the first conditional, which is also called type 1. We use zero conditional to talk about a future possibility and its results. If the weather is sunny, we will go to the beach at the weekend. In this example, the first part of the sentence, if the weather is sunny, is a future possibility. And what's its result? We will go to the beach at the weekend. We will go to the beach at the weekend only if the weather is sunny. If the weather is not sunny, we won't go to the beach at the weekend. Please remember that we don't have to use if at the beginning of the sentence. Now I will tell you how you can use if in the middle of the sentence. We will go to the beach. Here we wrote the result section first if the weather is sunny. If I pass the driving test, my dad will, might, or can buy you a car. Here, the sentence with if is a future possibility, and in future possibilities, as you can see, we use simple present tense. And in the results section, you can either use will, might, or can plus the verb itself. Now let's take a look at more examples to understand how we use the verbs in first conditional. Mark can, will, or might help you if you don't understand the question. Or you can say, Mark will get wet if he walks under the rain without an umbrella. The situation section is if he walks under the rain without an umbrella, and the result of him walking under the rain without the umbrella is Mark will get wet. Unless is used in first conditional sentences and it means if not. To be able to use unless in first conditional sentences, you need to make some changes in the sentence in order to not to change the meaning, in order to keep the meaning the same. Number one, you need to get rid of if and replace it with unless. Number two, you need to change the structure of the situation sentence. Now let's go back to our example. If you like romantic stories, you will enjoy this film. Now we want to write this sentence using unless, but I want to keep the meaning the same. So I get rid of if and replace it with unless, and then I have to take a look at the structure of the situation sentence. In this case, you like romantic stories is a future possibility, but in terms of structure, it's a positive sentence. Since unless means if not, I need to change the structure of the situation sentence and make it negative. Unless you don't like romantic stories, see, now I changed the structure of the situation sentence and wrote it in a negative way, you will enjoy this film. We can also do the same thing in this example. Mike will go to the cinema if he goes out tonight. Now I want to write the sentence using unless, but I want to keep the meaning the same. So there are two things I need to change. Number one, replace if with unless. Number two, change the structure of the situation sentence. If the situation sentence is a positive sentence, I make it negative. If it's negative, I change it to positive. So we make the sentence as Mike will go to the cinema unless he doesn't go out tonight. The next one is second conditional and it's also called type 2. We use second conditional to talk about an unreal or imaginary situation in the present and its results. If I had a lot of money, I would help poor people. This time, as I've said before, the situation is an unreal situation. If I had a lot of money is an unreal situation because right now, in the present, I don't have a lot of money. But if I had, I would help poor people. I would help poor people would be the result of the unreal situation. As you can see, in second conditional, in the situation sentence, we use the verb in simple past tense form. And in the results section, we use the verb as would or could plus verb. You can also say or write the same sentence as I would help poor people if I had a lot of money. As you can see, we did the same thing here, we wrote the result section first, and then it was followed by the situation sentence. If I were Jane, I would or I could buy you a car. Am I Jane? No, I'm not. So this is an unreal situation, and the result, if this would be true, if the unreal situation would be true right now in the present, I would or I could buy you a car is the result. Let's take a look at the difference between the first conditional and the second conditional. Now I'm going to give you an example using second conditional, and then I will try to explain you the difference between the second conditional and the first conditional using the same example. When we say, if I had enough money, I would buy a house with 10 bedrooms and a swimming pool. Right now, in the present, I probably don't have this much money. That's why it's just a dream, me buying a house with 10 bedrooms and a swimming pool. It's not very real. But if I say, if I have enough money, I will buy you some new shoes. In this example, we use first conditional because it's much more likely that I will have enough money in the future. Again, this is a possibility to buy you some new shoes. The last one is the third conditional, and it's also called type 3. In third conditional, we talk about number 1, possible events in the past that didn't happen. So this time there is an unreal situation, but that unreal situation is in the past, not in the present like the second conditional. If we had taken a different path, we wouldn't have got lost. In this example, there is a situation, an unreal situation in the past. As you can see, we are lost, but if there would be an unreal situation which is taking a different path because we didn't do it, we wouldn't have got lost. Another example can be if Mia had accepted that promotion, she would have been working in Paris. Since she didn't accept that promotion, it's an unreal situation in the past. She's not working in Paris, and this is the result of the unreal situation in the past. Number 2, for regrets and criticisms. If you hadn't shouted at her, she wouldn't have got so upset. In this example, you regret that you shouted at her, and the result is she got upset. But if you hadn't shouted at her, she wouldn't have got so upset. Or you can say, I wouldn't have had an accident if I had been more careful. I had an accident because I wasn't careful, so the sentence I made is a regret in the past. The rule for the third conditional is in the situation sentence we use if plus past perfect tense, and in the result section we use would or could plus have plus verb 3. Let's look at 2 examples and see how we use the verbs in third conditional. I would have taken a photo if I had brought my camera with me. Since I didn't bring my camera with me, since I don't have my camera with me, the sentence with if is an unreal situation, and as you can see, we use past perfect tense, and in the result section, we use the verb as would plus have plus verb 3. The same formula could be applied to he would have died if the ambulance hadn't arrived quickly. Again here, in the situation sentence, we use past perfect tense, and in the result section, we used would plus have plus verb 3. Thank you for listening. See you next time.